Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about a case where a church in Nevada asked the U.S. Supreme Court to uphold their constitutional rights, and the U.S. Supreme Court refused to do that. Hi, my name is Wes Austin. I'm a patent lawyer and stand-up comedian. Normally in my channel we talk about funny patents, legal news, sometimes some stand-up comedy. Today we're going to be looking at the case of Calvary Chapel versus the state of Nevada, Governor Steve Sisolak. So what's going on? In the state of Nevada, they issued a directive to combat COVID-19, the coronavirus pandemic, and they set up some rules. So you can have up to 50% of capacity for those certain businesses, like casinos, bars, restaurants, bowling alleys, places like that. However, if you're a church, you can only have up to 50 people there, not 50% capacity, only 50 people. Here's the exact language from the directive. Directive 21, Section 11 orders communities of worship and faith-based organizations to limit indoor in-person services so that no more than 50 persons are gathered and all social distancing requirements are satisfied. So the Calvary Chapel Church just wanted to have church services with up to 90 people there. Socially distanced, face masks, separate entry and exits, following all the rules. They just wanted to be treated as good as casinos or bars or bowling alleys in Nevada. And they weren't. So they filed this lawsuit in Nevada, appealed to the Ninth Circuit, then appealed to the Supreme Court, looking for the U.S. Supreme Court to uphold their constitutional rights. And they lost 5-4, sharply divided Supreme Court, but they did lose. Let me know what you think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Comment down below and let's start a discussion about this case. Okay, here's the issue. Okay, in the First Amendment, we have our freedom of religion, the free exercise clause. Let me read the language right from the First Amendment. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. So we can't have any states interfering with the free exercise of religion. All right, now in the state of Nevada, they were treating places of worship differently than other places. They were treating casinos, bars, restaurants better than they were churches. Therefore, strict scrutiny should have been applied, and this thing should have been found unconstitutional, all right? It wasn't, as I said, but they were wrong. Hey, maybe the governor of Nevada, Sisolak, he just wants to be super careful. You know, we just don't want this to spread, coronavirus to spread. So he's just being very, I don't know though, because they had some protests there where they were not going to be following the directive sent out by the governor. And the governor actually he tweeted support for them. Then not only that, he actually showed up and participated in the protests that weren't following the social distancing guidelines that he sent out. Okay, but you've got this church, Calvary Chapel, they just want to have a service, socially distanced, and that's going to be too dangerous? Come on. One of the arguments that they made was that it would be much easier to enforce these social distancing regulations in casinos, bars, restaurants, than it would be in churches, so it's okay to treat them differently. Okay, here's an image that we got from the record. This was taken after the directives in a casino. This clearly doesn't look like they're enforcing anything. But I guess at a church where people are sitting reverently, socially distanced from one another, while one person is talking at the front, that would be the hard place to really enforce this, right? I mean, can we just look at the practical side of this? When people go to church, once you sit down in a church, the first thing you do is look for the clock, and then you're asking yourself, when can we leave? Okay? Basically, that's it. You go to church once a week. I mean, if you're hardcore, maybe you go twice a week. Okay? Casinos. People are there pretty much 24/7. They're coming from all over the place. They go from casino to casino to casino. They're drinking a lot. I mean, it seems crazy to me to somehow be saying that churches are going to be tough to really enforce this. Hotel casinos, that's going to be... Actually, can we just look at that picture one more time? So I'm talking about, hit the like button if that doesn't make sense to you, because it doesn't make sense to me either. So church is much more dangerous than like casinos and bars and restaurants. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, maybe spirituality and like the angels that are at the churches are just a lot more contagious, and that's why churches are more dangerous than, casinos and bars. Or maybe what happened was the state of Nevada did some research and they found out that there was one building in the entire state that didn't have a slot machine, and it was this church, Calvary Chapel. So they set up these rules, and they're basically saying, like, look, you guys want to be treated the way casinos are? Put a slot machine up there on the podium, then we'll treat you the same. Huh? Is that it? I don't know. I'm grasping at straws at this point. I'm trying to help them out. That's all I can think of. Go ahead and subscribe and hit the notifications button if you think that church would be more fun with slot machines. So the decision was 5-4. We did have 4 Supreme Court justices that thought this was unconstitutional. And we have a great quote from Justice Gorsuch in his dissent. The world we inhabit today with the pandemic upon us poses unusual challenges, but there is no world in which the Constitution permits Nevada to favor Caesar's Palace over Calvary Chapel. I mean, we don't live in a world where billion-dollar corporations can do whatever they want. And even if we did, we have the U.S. Supreme Court to protect our constitutional rights, don't we? Okay, let's just keep in mind, what did this church want? They just wanted to have a socially distanced church service, all right? 90 people there, 6 feet apart, following all the rules. They just wanted to be treated as good as a casino or a bar. So what have we learned? Well, we've learned that if you're a government or a state, you can do whatever you want as long as you say that you've got a crisis on your hands, and the Supreme Court will just give you a thumbs up and say good work. All right, thanks for watching. Join us next week for our next video.